Hi everybody. If you have not met me, my name is Mari Bay. I am a Travefy brand ambassador, a virtual assistant. I do have some templates for sale for Travefy, and on top of all of that, I am also a travel advisor. Travefy has been part of my business since the very beginning, literally month number 2 of being a travel advisor, and it has been the core resource that I've used throughout the entire growth process. Travefy was my original pick because I love that they have itinerary building capabilities. They do have pages that can be used for a website at a low cost. And you do also get the CRM included, which is huge for any travel advisor, but especially for a new travel advisor who is still learning the ropes and wants to stay on top of client care. So I've had a lot of requests of me doing a how to set up Travefy video. The Travefy team, they do have a lot of training through their official channel, so I definitely recommend that you check those out. But I'm here to help too. I'm here to make your lives easier, and I'm here to help in any way I can. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. What I've done is I've created a dummy profile on Travefy, and we're gonna go through this setup together. That way you can see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it. So I went ahead and just inputted generic information. Again, my name is Mari Bay. I put in an email that is not my email, and I'm gonna put in travel advisor. This phone number is going to show up on your Travefy marketing profile, and your email will as well. And it's going to show up at the top of your proposals and itineraries. So it is very important that you make sure that the information which you input is accurate. Let's say at this time, I do actually have a website built through Travefy, so I'll put in that one right here. So mine is trips.traveladvisormari.com. The custom domain is something that I had to purchase separately, but I do have that connected to my Travefy, and that is not something you need to worry about right now in your life while you are setting up Travefy. For this, I'm going to put test Mari Travel Advisor, and I'm going to skip the profile photo and the logo for now, but just make sure that you upload something which is aligned with you, your business, and your brand. Now, the Travefy dashboard, when you first log in, it's going to look like this. You are probably overwhelmed by all of the buttons by just looking at this. So I'm going to go over the basics of what these buttons do. And I also want to encourage you to click on all of them. Click on even the buttons I don't show you today, because just because you're scared to doesn't mean you shouldn't. All of the buttons are there for a reason. All of them function for different things, and you will never know what they do if you never just click on it. So let's do a basic tour of the Travefy system as it sits whenever you first log in. So first and foremost, they do set you up with a demo trip. This is the home landing page, which you will always land onto, and it is called your trips page. So to always get back here, you will click on trips here at the top left. What I want to mention about the trips page is you do have two different kinds of trips. You have a proposal, and you also have an itinerary. The difference between a proposal and an itinerary is that proposals have not been approved by the client, which means they are still going to be prompted to approve the proposal and get that signed and sent over to you. What I love about Travefy and their proposal system is they are fully end-to-end PCI compliant, but they do also keep e-signatures and data of everything that your clients, I'm not going to say everything your clients do, but the important stuff. So whenever they submit a proposal, especially if you turn on the electronic signature on your proposal agreement form, they are going to have this timestamp with all of this data included, so that in the case that you ever end up in a situation with a chargeback, knock on wood, fingers crossed that never happens, but you do have proof that yes, this client signed this, here is all the data, blah, blah, blah. We will discuss that further as we move through Travefy trainings, but I did want to mention that. That way you know going in. And then the itinerary is just not going to have that approved proposal button. That is the main difference. Otherwise, they do show up in the same way. On this trips page, you're also able to sort your trips by start date, end date, last time it was edited. You can archive the trip directly here. Archiving does not automatically delete it from your account. So if you archive, you can show your archived trips. And when they're archived, they show this little blue suitcase icon. And so that's how you do that. If you want to unarchive a trip, you click this button. But as you also saw, once it is archived, you do have the option to delete it. So what I am going to skip for now is all of this because this is a 101 setup. So for your 101 setup, you're always going to want to start in your account settings. I am on a trial right now because this is not my official account. I'm recording this video under a trial so I can do it all for you. But this is where you'll select your plan. I am on the core plan personally, but I do recommend that you check out all of the additional features with the premium to make the best decision for you and your business. The usage, you will notice here, this shows all of the visits, the source it came from. You do have the ability to add trackers, like I think it's the Meta Pixel ID and Google Analytics, which you can add to your pages, which helps you track that if that is something you would like to track. You are able to export your contacts into a CSV if you ever need to change those over, or even just send them to a spreadsheet for just a backup, because having a backup is great. I do want to mention linking accounts. This is the hot spot for your account to really get yourself set up and ready. So whenever you first become a travel advisor, you are going to be very overwhelmed with all of the options for travel suppliers. Don't sign up for all of them. Sign up for the ones which you think you are going to use frequently. I personally do have my ALG vacations turned on because I do like to work with FunJet sometimes. I do not have select hotels and resorts. That doesn't connect with me. I'm not in the Internova network, but if you are, turn that on. And then Project Expedition and Viator are great for excursions and tours. So being able to connect those directly in here is amazing because you can import tours and save yourself time in the future once you get to that point. I am not saying do that right now. I'm not saying import tours and do that right now, but I am saying get your account connected. Connect them here in your settings for future use. And then if you are a Virtuoso user, you do have this available as well to you. There are the analytics I mentioned. Payments, this is going to be through Stripe. And Stripe is going to be used for invoicing if you do charge planning fees. So you are able to do that directly through Travefy. Now, for the fees, you are still subject to Stripe's fees, but all Travefy is doing is helping you keep it all within one platform, which is fabulous. Next is your email. I use Gmail for my business. And so what you're going to see here are just quick click buttons to get yourself logged in. Some people, you may not use Yahoo, Microsoft, Google, or iCloud, so you do have the option to sign in with an IMAP. That way it can connect to any and all email service providers. And then security is going to be all the good stuff, two-factor authentication, blah, blah, blah. What I do want to mention here, lastly, in the settings are the important settings. So here you have the option to set up your custom domain. You do not need to purchase a domain, but if you would like to, do it. Travefy is going to assign you a random URL, which is nice. But if you want something which is easy for your clients to access or easy to remember, then having a custom domain is great. As I showed a few minutes ago, mine is Travel Advisor Mari. So whenever I connected my custom domain to Travefy, I decided to not have it be my primary domain, so I have trips.traveladvisormari.com as the one I have set up in my account. And then for custom fields are assigned to contacts. The custom fields are really about CRM management. So if you want to include something like dietary restrictions or allergies, you can do that here. And you can choose the type that it's in here. I did a full training on Travefy forms on my YouTube channel. Please check it out for more instruction on how to use these, because I bet it's because I have a slash here. Because custom fields, they're a little bit down the road for you if you are just now setting up your Travefy account. But if you are setting up your Travefy account for the very first time, I do have a couple of trainings. I do recommend the Travefy forms and the Travefy automations. Automations is a lot more involved. It does take a lot more skill with the software than you're going to have on day one, probably even day 5, and potentially even day 10. But do know that that is there and available to help you whenever you need it. So back to the settings. I do have my time zone, my default commission set in here for commission logging, but you are able to change it if you are set in a different country. And the proposal agreement form, I do definitely want to talk about this here. So Travefy does automatically assign a proposal agreement form. It is very generic, so that when clients approve a proposal, you still have something assigned. But if you would like to customize that further or include your own terms and conditions, your own branding, your own questions, whatever it is, what you are going to do is create your own proposal agreement form. You can either do that directly here in your settings, or you can do it in your library by creating that form. I just talked myself in a circle. But yes. And Travefy is also great because they do allow you to build some forms from templates that they've already put in. So here's just a sample proposal agreement form. I like to always put in like a, hi, I am so excited to get your vacation started. And then give instruction. So once this form is submitted, I will begin finalizing your vacation items. If you have any questions, please let me know. It would probably help me if I could type well today. But that does show you here. And earlier I did mention the electronic signature. I do require an electronic signature on all of my forms. It does force clients to log in. It does force them to do a little bit more on their end. But the reason I do that is because the terms and conditions I had drawn up by an attorney, I do copy and paste directly in here to cover my ass. I am a business owner. You are now a business owner. Congratulations. You are officially covering your ass as much as you can for legal. So include your terms and conditions as much as you can, or as often as you believe you need to, and as often as your attorney recommends you do so. This is not legal advice. This is just what I personally do. So I do put in my terms and conditions on all forms. For proposal agreement form, I definitely 100% do. Once that proposal agreement form is submitted, it's most likely not going to show up here. It most likely will show up within the trip itself. And you're going to see all of these lovely prompts. They do want you to continue to build your account. You have the option to schedule a demo. So there's a lot you can do. And it bounced me back to the library. So I'm going to go back to settings to make sure I didn't miss anything. So let's talk about feedback request next. So Travefy does have a feature where you are able to automatically send a feedback request. The feedback request is a happy face or a sad face. If you like that, you can keep it. If you don't like it, turn it off. I turn mine off And the reason I do that is because I have automated a feedback email feedback form in a task list in my library, which is applied to trips, that is heavily discussed in the automations training I did. But I think that is a lot more thorough than a happy face and a sad face. And it allows me to have not more control, but more ability to gather information from clients on what worked for them, what didn't work for them, so on and so forth. Next is auto updating flights. I love this feature. Auto updating flights is one of my favorite Travefy features ever. And the reason is because a lot of times clients are traveling either while I'm sleeping or while I'm in meetings, or they're just in a time zone that doesn't align as perfectly with mine. And so, what I love about the auto update for flights is once you import the flight into Travefy, and what it'll do is it'll import like the airport, you'll need to have the airline and then the flight number. And once you put in the flight number and the airline, it brings in the airport, it brings in all the information it needs. But if there's any changes on travel day, let's say a gate change or a delay or whatever it is, Travefy automatically pushes a notification to your client's phone, and it also pushes that notification to you so that you can stay on top of your client's flights without having to constantly be in this like anxious state. So that's amazing. And I have personally noticed that the flight updates through Travefy do come through sooner than the actual airline's app does, which is crazy. I don't know what they're using for their flight data, but it is really good. And then lastly is receiving invoice payment notifications. I do leave this on because I never want to miss a beat whenever it comes to client payments. But if you feel like that's not an email notification, which you need to receive, you can turn that off, and then you can just manage them directly in your Travefy account. So that goes over the absolute bare basics. And I know I talk a lot. I know I talk really fast. So what I recommend, if you are lost, pause this video, go back, rewatch it, slow down the speed on YouTube, and practice. Click it through your account step by step with me as we have gone up to this point. And when you are ready, let's move forward. So let's move into the marketing profile. A lot of people, surprisingly, this is crazy to me, they don't even realize that they have a Travefy marketing profile. So your Travefy marketing profile is what I like to use as like a link in bio. So whenever you're on like Instagram or TikTok, people always say link in bio, link in bio. This is what you can use for your link in bio. And what's perfect about it is it includes your title, your contact information. You can add in information about yourself. Hi, I am Travel Advisor Mari. I am the best travel advisor for travelers seeking a luxury Costa Rica experience. And what you can also do is you can add in your links. You can add in your Facebook. You can add in your Instagram. You can add in whatever it is. So it is still, like I said, perfect for that link in bio because it includes all of your information at once, but it gets even sweeter. And it gets even sweeter because you're able to add itineraries from your account into your marketing profile. And the demo trip is not showing because it's probably set to a proposal. But if it was set to an itinerary, you could add it here and it would all be like this. And what's great about this, especially for people who do groups or are destination specialists, you can create a sample itinerary that says Costa Rica for honeymooners or my escorted group trip to Costa Rica, and it's right here on your marketing profile, which is just incredible, absolutely amazing. And you can make it public, and this is your link. So that is the Travefy marketing profile. It is a golden goose in your Travefy account, and it really is a game changer if you use it properly. I'm next going to go through bookings. This is your commission manager. Getting started with Travefy, you may have use for this if you're already established as a travel advisor. If you are going to go in and work with the commission manager, you can add in your new bookings by including all of the information you need, and then you'll simply save and close. And then you're able to track your commissions directly within Travefy, so you can keep reports on what's expected, what's received, and anything that's overdue. Because why would you work so hard for commission just to not be paid your commission? And I know if you're new to the travel industry, you'd be like, well, how would that even happen? It happens more than you know. I ran an audit of money owed to me in August of 2025. I had like well over $1,000 that was due to me to be paid, that was overdue, outstanding. And the commission reporter that I would previously use just wasn't doing it for me. It was not keeping everything how it should have in an organized manner. So keep that in mind. Stay organized with your commissions in your Travefy account. And I do also want to mention, some of you guys are probably looking at me like, no, I don't need to do that. My host agency, I have to input all of my commissions and all of my bookings to my host, and they do that in their software. And like, yes, that's true, but I want you to consider what happens if you ever leave your host. What happens if you ever decide to go completely independent? Because at that point, you need to have all of your commissions, all of your itineraries, all of your client information in your own system. And that is what Travefy is really good for. And that is why I personally recommend putting everything in your Travefy account. Next is fees. This is going to be the Stripe fees. So if you're, again, charging planning fees, this is where you'll go to track all of your fees. All right, let's go into the meat of Travefy. And I know that sounds crazy because I've already gone through so much today, but Travefy does get better and it gets a lot more powerful as you learn. And I have not quite built up my YouTube channel with a lot of training videos quite yet, but they are coming. I have them in the works. This is just the start. So make sure to subscribe to my channel, stay tuned, comment if you have anything that you would like to see as far as Travefy training, and I will make sure to add it to my list for future content. So now that we're going into the meat of Travefy, I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to say, wow, I am not overwhelmed at all in the slightest. And I want you to at least halfway believe yourself when you say it. And even if you are overwhelmed, again, this video is available to you to watch, rewatch, pause, replay, whatever you need to do. Take it slow, take it easy. And if you have questions, put them here in the comments. Or I do also have a Facebook group. It's called Travefy Tips, Tricks, and Share. I'm in there every day answering questions, helping advisors maximize Travefy usage in their account. And I'm happy to help you as well. So now that we're getting into the meat, let's talk about contacts. When I started with Travefy about 2 years ago, Travefy was primarily an itinerary builder with a mini CRM. But in 2025, Travefy came out with a mission to become more of a CRM, to allow their advisors to work within only one platform instead of having to have Travefy for itinerary building and a separate software for CRM. So Travefy has worked really hard on upgrading the software to work more for us and work more with us. And what I love is if you already have contacts from your host commission manager or a spreadsheet that you've been keeping in Excel or Google Sheets, you can import those contacts directly within your Travefy account to save yourself time. There is a template file that you can download if you need exact description on how to add the columns. But yes, that is what you're going to need. And so once you have that document, you can upload it here as a CSV or spreadsheet file. Now, let's go through a contact because wow, your first traveler is ready to book. Let's get them ready to book. What should their name be? Their name is going to be Heather Appleton. I don't know a Heather Appleton. I'm hungry. She is a female. She works for Test Company LLC. She is the owner. She works for testcompanyllc.com. And we love Heather Appleton because she is a solo traveler who loves to adventure in the jungle. She does get motion sickness. And I just put that in here, but you can add that in again as a custom field, or you can add that in your client notes. I personally like to add anything directly attached to the client itself right here in the contact info. So you can see in additional information, you have options to add more. You can add passport information, you can add travel preferences, you can add loyalty programs, you can do known traveler number, you can do room specificity. I mean, you can do so much. I don't know why it was so hard to think of something else, but you do have all of this available to you. And again, Travefy is fully end-to-end PCI compliant, so all of this data is safe and secure. Your clients, they should not be texting you this information. They should not be emailing you this information. This should be going through a secure system like Travefy. And so this is you protecting them, but also protecting you. And so that is the basics of contacts. You can add a task directly in your contact. So let's say Heather reached out, need to send complimentary consultation booking link because it's Sunday. I'm recording this on Sunday, right? So Heather reached out to me on Sunday. I need to send her the complimentary consultation booking link, but I am not going to do that today. It is Sunday. I am not working. I'll do it tomorrow. And I'm going to remind myself that I need to do it tomorrow right when I get in office. That way I do not forget. So there's my reminder. It's going to happen. And at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, when I am back in office, when I'm back at my desk, because I am a travel advisor with boundaries, I will send her that link. And my Travefy account will prompt me to do it up here in my tasks. What I like to do with notes, and this is going to be different for everybody, whenever a client reaches out to me and has very specific information about them, I'll type it in here. If it is anything related to the trip itself, those go in trip notes. But this is for client-specific information. This will be a list of any and all trips they have previously been on, any forms that you have sent them previously. So let's say they've taken 20 vacations with you now, and you're like, oh, I remember asking them this one question on trip number 5. Where would I find that? You'd find it right here because you sent it to them on trip number 5. You have all of the forms. The documents is going to be any documents which you have collected with forms, so like a passport scan, the global entry card, anything that you want to securely keep for your client. And then once you connect your email, this thread will show any and all emails attached to you and to the email that you have connected to your travel here in their contact profile. So that is an easy way to stay organized from the beginning to the end. And so I'm going to go ahead and close out of this contact, and I'm going to next go over filters and labels. A lot of people love labels and a lot of people do not love labels. I personally love labels, and I think they make more sense for my brain, but I think they also have a lot more flexibility on what you can do with them. So let's say Heather is part of the Appleton family. So we'll add a label, and let's create her husband, who's going to be David Appleton. If you are a Heather or David Appleton, comment and tell me, because how crazy would it be that this actually are real people? So now we see that they are the Appleton family. So I'm going to label them as Appleton family. And this is really good for people who do family trips or who do group trips, because it helps you stay organized. So let's say you have 2,000 contacts because you've been working for a really long time. You now specialize in groups, and you need to know all of the contacts that are on your Mexico 2028 all-inclusive trip. You can label all of them to be like Mexico 2027 or whatever that label is for your brain, and you can just click that button to show only them. You can also filter them by when they are traveling. If they've previously traveled, it helps you stay on top of client communications and stay on top of reaching out to them if they have not booked in a while. Next, I'm going to go out of contacts and we're going to go to the marketplace. The marketplace, you don't have to do anything to set up, but I do want to show it to you because this is somewhere you're going to go to get starter information. You can simply copy it to your library, and anything that you're looking for, you can kind of find at least a basic to get you started. And as you can see, that's now shown up in your library for you to use. Again, for your library, you have the option to label items. I do label all of mine to stay organized, and I recommend as you set up, label your stuff. Please, you are going to want to label your stuff. It is going to save you so much time in the long run. And when I say save you time, I have had travel advisors who have used Travefy for 5+ years, and that's Maximus. He's about to start barking. Maximus, buddy, come here. And so I'm going to try to wrap this up quickly now that Maximus is getting antsy. But lost my whole train of thought. Oh, as a Travefy virtual assistant, I've been hired by advisors who have like 5 years worth of library content that they have never organized and never labeled. When I tell you it will save you time, it is because I have spent 5, 6, 7 hours in people's libraries organizing their content. Okay, this is brand new software to me to record this video, so I'm sorry that it's a whole lot in the back end. And learning Travefy was so much easier than learning how to record content for YouTube, I swear. But yes, keep your library organized. You do have the ability to set up library items. Whenever you are starting, there are only a few things you truly need: a proposal agreement form, a traveler information form, and just task lists. So in the automation training, again, it's more advanced. You do not need to do that immediately, but there is a general task list that I've given for free in the caption of that video. And we actually walk through building that on the live call so you can see what that looks like. And as you grow with Travefy, you will learn what all of these mean and what all of these do. But for now, I'm not going to give you that information because it's a lot. And you don't really need to set all of that up to get your account started. So proposal agreement form, client intake form, or travel information form. I don't do an intake form, but I do collect traveler information upon booking. And then last 2 things, because I didn't go over tasks. So I did kind of briefly show tasks here. You can view all of your tasks, which include contact tasks, but it also includes tasks here. And so demo trip needs ABC done. So once we add that into our task list, it now also shows up here. And then one last piece for Travefy Setup is your website. Whenever you have websites started, you can pick a theme. I typically go with Azure or Stellar, but honestly, it depends on you and it depends on the purpose of the website, which one is going to work best. For example, Kaizen works really well for blogs, but it's personal preference. So for page building, this is just where you get started. You can literally use this basic template to just get your first website built. You can say, Travel Advisor Mari, she is the best. And then here are my services. This is why you should hire me. hire me, and then like list services, you're able to put in list, you're able to format, you're able to add highlighting, um, and just play around with it. Pages, a lot of people get overwhelmed with. It's on my to-do list to do a pages training, but that's not today's purpose. So that is ultimately everything you need to get fully 100% started with Travefy. And next, I want to go over some quick advice from other Travefy users. Okay, so this morning when I started recording, I did post in the Travefy Tips, Tricks, and Share group. The lovely advisors in this group have really encouraged me to do this video and to do more trainings. So I also wanted to ask them for their advice. And so this morning I said, if you could go back to the first day using Travefy, what advice would you give yourself? And I'm going to read through some of these comments with you so that you have wisdom shared from everybody and not just me. So Nancy said, start planning your organization right away. Make sure the things you create get put into logical areas in your library, and make templates for things that you use a lot. So thank you, Nancy. That's a good one. This emphasizes the importance of using labels in your library and in your contacts. And then for templates, using them a lot. I do have Travefy templates launching very soon. It is January 4th, 2026. So depending on when you're watching this video, they could already be listed for sale to help get you started. Sherry said, take it slow. Set up one thing at a time and ask questions and use all of their resources. If you ever get lost, you do have this learn button up here. You can schedule a demo and you can ask for help directly with the Travefy team here. It's amazing, and that's really nice. The messaging is directly here if you do need help, which I frequently use, believe it or not. Loretta, take 2 to 3 weeks to learn and set up everything. I feel at a disadvantage because these are all new and fabulous features that Travefy has implemented, but in the thick of work, I can't drop everything to learn and set up adequately without letting actual trips wait or working on my personal time. And that is a really good one, Loretta. Thank you for sharing that one. Because whenever you're first starting or first getting your new account set up, you're probably overwhelmed. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. Becoming a travel advisor is a lot in itself. So take the time to learn the system, because there's no point in paying for a system which you are not going to know how to use. Otherwise, you are literally throwing money down the drain. And let's see. Christine, this is a good one. Understand the library and labels and make templates before you start turning out proposals. This is a really good one. So you need to know how to use your system before you send out client proposals. And what I recommend doing is, I created a test one here, but in my actual Travefy, I have myself listed as Mari Test. And I put my personal email in here, and I will create proposals. I actually have a trip in my account called Sample Trips, and I have one called Social Media Trips, just something I can play with. I can practice with, I can set up proposals, I can practice forms, and I can send it to myself instead of sending it to a client-facing aspect first, so that I can see what my clients are receiving. And it also helps when you're starting, because you're seeing it from both ends, so you see how it all works and marries together. And that looks like it. That is all. And I'm not going to say that's it. There was a lot shared, but that is the primary information that wasn't just repeated. So that, I hope, has been helpful. I want to thank you all for watching this video. And again, if you have comments, you can comment them here. You can comment them in the Travefy Tips, Tricks, and Share group. And if you are new to Travefy, I do have or haven't signed up for Travefy, I do have a referral code. You do get a discount. I get a little bit of a discount off of my annual subscription. So if you are considering using Travefy, please consider using my referral link. And I'm always happy to help. I'm always here to help you how I can with Travefy. So please do not feel like you are bothering me with your questions. I This is a joy for me. So I look forward to seeing you on future videos, future trainings, and I hope you have a really good rest of your day.